This episode is sponsored by the Financial Due Diligence Framework course. If you're doing any type of financial analysis and participate in M&A, strategy, or turnaround projects, you absolutely need to check out this course. By completing this comprehensive video course, you'll be strongly armed to analyze the P&L of any company and to be able to provide actionable, insightful reports. This course teaches you how to properly understand the methodology of how to conduct thorough financial analysis and what is important in financial due diligence. If you're looking for a career in transaction services in one of the big four, in a transaction services boutique, or to be a better private equity professional or M&A associate, you'll get a solid foundation to land your next job. And as a special offer, if you use the code SaaS District, you'll get $100 off the entire course, made specifically for our listeners. So if you're interested, go check out horizoncapital.com/learn due diligence. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Akhil Jabbar, and welcome back to another episode of SaaS District. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how Microacquire is disrupting the M&A industry and a smarter way to exit your startup. Today, we have our guest back joining us once again, Andrew Gazdecki. You can check out our previous episode. If you don't know his backstory and his past successes, check out episode number 31. So if you guys don't know Andrew, he's a serial entrepreneur, mentor, and the founder of Microacquire, which is a startup acquisition marketplace that connects buyers and sellers and gets them into the right conversation. So welcome back, Andrew. Super excited to have you back.
Keel, great to... I'm gonna rephrase that intro. I'm just a dude with a hat with a startup.
Okay. We'll go with that.
but good to be back on here. Our first podcast I thoroughly enjoyed. So thanks for inviting me back on.
No, thank you for being back. So it's been over a year now. A lot has happened with Microacquire. I think recently what I heard is you just raised an outside investment round of about $7 million from some of the top-notch investors out there, entrepreneurs. So they'll just like to catch up. Let's hear about, what are the big changes, improvements you're making at Microacquire, including expanding your team since we last chatted, and why the decision to raise versus continue bootstrapping.
Yeah, great questions. I'll start with the first question. So, decision to raise money. I've had personal goals where I've written it on Twitter where, I think your first business should be a service business. Like just get the cash flow. You learn so much. And then after that business, and usually a service business or an agency can lead into a SaaS business or an asset that you can sell. Mm-hmm. So step one complete, step two complete. And with Microacquire, what I started to find was the opportunity to help entrepreneurs was so massive. It supported raising capital, and it allowed me to, the best part about it was allowed me to hire. I still am like, venture capital makes no sense for 99% of entrepreneurs. But with this one, it's less about, I guess the financial outcome for me. And it's more about, helping entrepreneurs succeed, and just like the stories that we get when like companies or entrepreneurs sell their businesses. We're paying for like weddings. We're paying like helping people pay off debt. We're putting like down payments on houses. So I thought, this is something really special and something that the startup community needs. And I was getting to a point where I could have kept bootstrapping it, but so last time we spoke, I was doing this all for free. Cause I just believe this should exist for entrepreneurs. But I was writing the newsletter. I was improving startups' profiles. I was handling all marketing. I was writing all the content. I almost died. And now, so I laid down the foundation. And so this is maybe another tip for entrepreneurs that are considering raising capital is really wait till you feel like you have everything in place first. So the business was already doing really, really well. But since the capital raise, I've hired back my old VP of engineering, VP of product, my old CFO, my old creative director, my old head of content, which led to, I don't know if you saw, I launched a publication called Bootstrappers, to just bring more, light and, celebrate founders that aren't raising capital. And now we're just moving at 100 miles per hour, and having a blast. So
nice.
Yeah. I mean, main answer to that was, I felt I could have a bigger impact. And this one this is a business I wake up every day, just enjoy running. Like I'm building like my dream company. And so I wanted to accelerate some of that, growth. So, don't recommend it. It definitely comes with its downsides for sure. I always say if you want to have a good financial outcome, bootstrap. But if you want to change and really disrupt the market, it makes sense to raise capital, and that's kind of where I'm at.
So I think that.
What was the second question too?
So you expanded your team. Why did you decide to raise versus continue? And then, just kind of what the big changes and improvements are. But I guess, in terms of that, like, you mentioned you put out your own money. This was, bootstrap, your own capital in there. You did launch the premium buyer service. So, you were rolling in some ARR capital for you. Maybe just share, where are you guys in terms of size today on ARR basis? And then, like, where do you plan to deploy that capital from some of those changes?
So right now we're almost at 1 million just from the premium buyer subscriptions, which is nuts. That's one of those business models, like every entrepreneur, where you just wake up one day and you're like, let's just try this pricing model, and it ended up working out really well. And some of the big changes that are coming up with Microacquire is we're actually, probably by the time this podcast is launched, unless you guys can get this out like really fast, we built a whole directory of M&A advisors, investment bankers, brokers. So we actually want to start working with brokers. We want to start working with investment bankers. We want to work with M&A attorneys. And we believe that'll help us, that'll help us work with larger startups and more complex deals. Because once you get over like a 5, even like a $2-3 million exit, it could sometimes help to hire professional expertise to help close a deal. And so we're building a directory where you can hire these people at a much lower cost so you can maximize your exit. Really, the ethos of Microacquire is our goal is to build the most founder-friendly marketplace in the world. And so we've already onboarded like 50 brokers, some people from like Goldman Sachs, some people where I'm like, whoa. Everyone's like super supportive. So that's going to be awesome.
Super cool.
And we also have a valuation tool. So we're building out, think of it as like a chart mogul, Barometrics kind of clone-ish thing, but much simpler. Just big, pretty graphs. We're not going into like retention or anything like that. But we're bringing in real marketplace data on valuation so you can understand what your company is worth. And so you can log in and see, oh, my company's worth this much money. And then one click, we can port you over to Microacquire and you can start meeting buyers for free. And I should also back up for people who aren't familiar with Microacquire, we allow startups to sell their company entirely free. There's no commissions. There's no strings attached. We take care of everything. We only charge buyers on the other side to access the deals. So that ensures that you're only speaking with serious buyers and not just a bunch of random people reaching out with, a key old 9994 and I have no idea who you are, So everyone has like a LinkedIn profile. You can do due diligence. You have full control over who you give access. to the private details of your startup. So it's completely private, completely anonymous. But yeah, we're really just, trying to make it easier for startups to get acquired.
And understanding a little bit more on like what's going on in the marketplace. I'm curious, to love to hear some more stats. Have you guys, dug in and see, what's being sold, let's say in terms of average valuation, maybe days on the market before being sold, like how fast are these, businesses being picked up and percent being sold and maybe average revenue size? Do you have any stats around that?
Let's start with one at a time, dude. Like, don't. You're
a smart guy. I know, smart you are. You can figure it all out.
don't throw a stats test at me. One question at a time.
Average valuation.
Average valuation. So we still let a lot of smaller startups come in, because that was like how we started. We started with like really small listings. Mm-hmm. And now that's like grown. We have like listings that are selling for like, we're like, I think we're closing our first 8-figure deal right now, which is incredible. Mm-hmm. So we have a blend, but when you average it all out, about $500,000.
$500,000. Okay. And what's the typical days it takes before, getting a deal sold?
That blended, I don't have that number exact, but if I had to ballpark it, I'd say 90 days. Because we have some that sell in 7 days. We have some that sell in 30 days, some 60, and then some 6 months. And there's a lot of variables that go into that. If you price it like insane, like, it's going to take longer. If you price it correctly within kind of like market multiples, it'll sell faster. Dependent on the industry. Is it a good business? So there's a lot of variables around that. But if let's assume, let me tell you like a recent scenario that was pretty badass. So there was this a kid in India, and he listed his company, and he sold it within 30 days, all cash. The buyer worked with him on a structure that helped with taxes. $250,000 in India, like I think that's like,
it's life changing. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oh, and he was in college. He was a college kid.
Wow.
So the kid made $500,000 in college. I didn't get too close to the deal. I just heard the story and I thought it, and that goes back to like why I love Microacquire. We changed that kid's life. Like he's paying off his student debt he has. But he sold within, he had multiple LOIs, and he went with the one from a buyer that worked with him on reducing his tax liability. And that was just an amazing story. And we have tons of other stories like that. So it just depends, like, how good is the company? How are you presenting it? How motivated are you to sell? That's another big one. Yep. So there's a lot of variables around that, but I love sharing that story. And we have other ones too. Another recent one was a company sold for like $7.5 million. And the guy writes me an email and he's like, "Hey, thanks for making me a multi-millionaire." And then my response back is like, "Thanks. Congrats," because we don't take fees or commissions. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
that's awesome. Good stuff.
Just to give you some insight into like, if it's a good business and it's valued correctly, and the buyer is motivated to sell, and we have a bunch of content like how to sell your business. Yeah. Because we're building the marketplace for founders. That's really important to understand. So we create a lot of content on how to sell your business, not how to buy a business, like how to present it to buyers, how to negotiate with buyers. What is due diligence? What are the legal steps? Like all the stuff I didn't know when I sold my companies. So we really just that's basically what fires us up at Microacquire.
Nice. Yeah, I think Pierre must have sent over a nice guest post we wrote together just on earnouts, right? Like just that piece of like the whole transaction, such a small piece, but there's so much that can go just into that conversation, and hopefully can help you guys to learn more about that.
Yeah.
Curious to know, like, some of the, what are some of the, deeper into those trends, like hottest startups that that are getting the most offers, maybe specifically in the SaaS market. Like, is there a certain solution, certain stage or size, certain metrics, industry, or even, geographical trends? Like you see these companies are selling fast and, you want to be, in this area or space?
Surprisingly, so Microacquire is global. We're on every continent. I always joke we're on every continent because I said we're on every continent, and then one guy was like, "Are you on Antarctica?" And I was like, "No, we're not." So we have startups listed. We have over 1,000 startups listed in every continent except Antarctica. From the guy that pointed that out, startups. It just depends. I mean, we have over 100,000 buyers. So we have buyers in Europe. We have buyers in Australia. We have buyers in India. We have thousands of buyers in the United States. So I'd say it's a pretty good mix. Again, I'm not coming here with like hard stats. So at the end of the month, we're going to have like a wrap up of like kind of this is like the state of the union of acquisitions within Microacquire.
Nice.
But I would say it's a good mix in terms of geography. Obviously, US is most dominant, but we do see some of our biggest acquisitions have been outside of the United States, which is pretty incredible. So we've gone global without any effort, which is kind of even I'm like, whoa, like you're in Switzerland and you built a great company and it's a profitable SaaS company and you bootstrapped the whole thing and this thing's gonna sell and like congrats. I don't know the tax structure there, but I think you're gonna do well.
Okay. Curious on the kind of valuation side, because I actually get approached quite a bit from a bunch, different buyers. They're looking to buy a startup. I will send them to you guys. So, check out the deals, learn more. But I do caution them, right? Because I love what you guys are doing. But what I've seen even myself is like, there is kind of some overvaluation, a little bit of, hype because it's listed from the seller. Are you guys getting involved at any point right now? Like suggesting valuation prices and maybe matching them with potential buyers?
Right now, not so much. We have guides on valuations that we've written, like kind of what we see selling in the market. So when I sold business apps, my price was open offers. It wasn't 4 times profit, or I would never sell my startup for 4 times profit. No fucking way.
Sure. Yeah.
No way. But I always encourage entrepreneurs to have a valuation that they can defend. So some of the crazy ones are like, and we've stopped posting those, but sometimes founders will go in and like edit the price up. That's a challenge that we're addressing with our valuation tool. Kind of like Zillow has like Zestimate for houses. Yeah. We're gonna have that, but for startups to really guide founders of like, this is kind of like what. Like if you were serious about selling your startup, like this is kind of the range. But some of the startups listed on Microacquire are, good strategic buys. So financial buyers are going to value it completely different. But we have a number of corp dev teams in there that are more than happy to pay 10 times in recurring revenue. And people call it out. They're like, this is insane. And I'm like, it just sold. Like, okay. So it just depends on the business, the quality of the software, the team. Sometimes, we see acqui-hires into larger companies. So those insane prices, don't sleep on them. Just scroll past them if it's not your thing. Like, trust me, there's people that if it's a good business, and there's always negotiations involved and stuff like that. But yeah, we do try to educate founders on correct valuations because we want to help them get acquired.
Yeah.
And a big part of most startups not getting acquired on Microacquire, it comes down to price. Like they just overprice it. They think it's worth more than it is. But for also some founders, like that's what they'll sell for. Like they're not interested in, selling, at a lower valuation than what's listed. But we're building this like really badass like value. It's so slick. Like when I show it to you, you'll be blown away. But
can we white label it and use it ourselves?
Yeah, we've actually had like private equity firms reach out. So they like when people reach out to them to sell it to them, you can connect like your billing metrics and then you kind of calculate like, okay, this is what it could be worth. But anyways, like if you're a Shopify SaaS, e-commerce company, a SaaS company, a newsletter, because we've expanded into multiple different categories, we'll show you what other startups similar to yours have sold for. So you'll have real market data. So instead of a broker saying like, hey, this is kind of like the range of like TTM profit times like 4 to 6, it's like, this is what's really selling in the market right now on Microacquire. Like this isn't just a guesstimate. This is
so you're using data from the actual sold and what's been selling. Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's gonna. I'm super. We're taking a little long. We're taking our time with it because we understand the importance of, really providing the correct information for founders because we don't want to release it and evaluations aren't, accurate or we don't feel they're accurate and they're never going to be 100% accurate. But it'll give a good range and then that'll really guide founders. Then we might start adding things like, founder posts a price, but this is kind of what like Microacquire estimate, something like that. So we definitely are, that's like one of the top, items that we're building out now, and that should be out in like a month, along with the M&A directory. And I think that's going to really kind of change the whole game for the marketplace.
And speaking from the buyer side, because I know it seems like you're a lot of good things out there for sellers to educate them on. What are maybe some other biggest struggles you're hearing from buyers who are trying to make, whether it's the first acquisition or many other deals with building their portfolio through your marketplace?
Probably access to capital. So we partner with Clearco, so you can finance deals, e-commerce deals through Clearco, which they funded over 2 billion e-commerce companies. Definitely look up Clearco. We also have an exclusive partnership with Pipe, so you can get pre-financed to acquire a company, a SaaS company with a recurring revenue. So we have Clearco for e-commerce, Pipe for SaaS and recurring revenue businesses. So that's a major holdup. And then, I'll tell you something cool, Akil. You know what an SPV is, right? So I'm working on a product right now where we're going to allow private equity funds to raise money with an SPV, completely streamlined, where you can basically raise $30 million and then acquire a whole portfolio, buy everything on Microacquire, just go on a shopping spree. So that'll probably be out within another month as well.
That's cool. Yeah, we're actually looking to raise our funds, so something like that could be good. Can they help us?
Yeah, so we're partnering with a firm to do that. So they already have all the back office stuff, but it'll be smooth as but like I've been working with the team and I almost want to raise a fund. I'm like, this is going to be super easy.
Let's do it.
So keep an eye out for that. I think that's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to, what we're trying to do at Microacquire is just help entrepreneurs succeed.
Right.
And, raising a fund can be a pain, and the management, the back office, all that sort of stuff. And then we'll be allowing you to raise funds from other investors inside of Microacquire, because we have two groups. We have we have some buyers that are time rich, money poor, and then we have a lot of people that are
money rich.
Sure, what is it?
Money rich, time poor.
Money rich, time poor,
Okay.
and so they would much rather just 100K into an entrepreneur who owns an agency that serves, I don't know, dentists, and they want to acquire this one company, and they have this presentation on why they want to buy it. And so they'll be able to figure out a structure of how do we acquire this business, and then basically get round up investors to close that acquisition if they don't want to go down financing with Clearco or Pipe.
Nice. I think you also partnered with Nathan at some point as well, right? At his company?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you can get financing through there. Cool. So we also hear, companies we talked about, posting, they're selling on Microacquire, but they're getting a lot of requests, a lot of LOIs, which is amazing. I love that. But some of them are maybe having trouble filtering out who are the serious buyers from just interested requests. How are you maybe planning or helping them with this problem? Other than, you have that premium buyer program, which is, a little bit of some cost for them. Is there anything else you can, think of how to filter them out and get them, serious or the right buyers?
Oh yeah, we're fixing all that stuff, man.
Yeah, I know you're on it. I have an answer.
You gotta understand. So Microacquire is a new company. Before we raised capital, it was just me. I could only do so much. My VP product is one of the most brilliant product managers I've ever worked with in my life, and I've worked with him in my life. And so, one thing that we're doing is, when you go and request information, we're going to have buyers answer more questions to add more friction. So how are you going to fund the transaction? How interested are you? What other additional information do you need? So when those requests goes to the seller, they can then organize based on, if someone says, I love this company, I'd love to learn more, I have all cash, that will be prioritized in the request list. Because right now they're all just kind of summed up in a row, and it's still efficient, but we have a huge improvement coming in terms of helping buyers gravitate towards the request from other buyers, sellers gravitate towards requests from buyers that might be a little bit more serious because they've spent some time. This looks great. So just adding a little bit more friction, and then we also have some other cool plans. We're thinking Microacquire Platinum, where if it's a deal over a few million, we're going to be asking for proof of fund. Do you have access to that sort of capital?
That's a good idea.
Because it's just a waste of time. If you're requesting information on stuff like that. In 90 days, Microacquire will have pretty much every, because the number one thing my VP product did was he just talked to all of our power users, wrote down everything that we can improve upon, and now it's already in development.
Love it. Looking forward to seeing that, man. So you guys are a new company, but there's also you guys are growing, and leading kind of the space, but also a lot of competition in the space. I've seen a couple of copycat pop up as well, trying to be the next Microacquire. Where do you guys stand on that right now in terms of your competition?
I love competition. I'm a competitive person, but I'll give you an anecdote from business apps. So business apps, for those of you that don't know, I built a no-code app builder when I was 21. It was copied to the point where they copied our bugs, which is kind of cool. We had some things in there with my name in it, like Gaz code. And then we could search. Yeah. So my name Gaz is in there. But it pushed us to be better, and it pushed us to move quicker. And I think competition in the market is a great thing, because the more options entrepreneurs have to get acquired, the better. So I think it's a win-win net for the industry. And I don't want to take credit for kind of starting like this sort of like all these different options to sell your company aside from hiring a broker. But, I think we've really woken up the market of, this model can work. I'm rooting for all of them to succeed.
Nice. Love it. You're pretty open and you're kind of sharing the wealth across everybody who wants to get into space.
I mean, it's also a big market too. I mean, like we don't, like we're not, I always tell my team, we obviously, play to win, we play hard and we play fair. But we don't, our measurement of success is just how happy are we making our customers? How many lives are we changing? And again, this sounds like a cheese sandwich, but it's true. Like we feed off of that. Like just hearing entrepreneurs' story. Like we're writing a story right now for Bootstrappers where this person sold a company on Microacquire for like $500,000 or something like that. And then they use those funds to start a new company that's now doing like $2 million in revenue. And so it's just super rewarding to like enable these entrepreneurs to do these things. And then we get to help bring recognition. Like, hey, that's awesome. Like, congrats, dude. Like you're killing it. So, we want to be known as a company that just helps entrepreneurs succeed. We don't want to be known as like the dominant player and like we're better than everybody. No, we're just, Microacquire. We're here to support entrepreneurs and encourage and inspire and maybe change a few lives along the way.
Seems like you're fueling that kind of cycle and ecosystem, right? And that's generally how these ecosystems are started. Is few really successful entrepreneurs have their exit, and then they usually generally give back to their city and community and start investing back into into entrepreneurs, and it kind of builds that cycle. So you're kind of adding fuel to that fire, and it seems like it's a win-win across, right? That you're not even seeing the long-term impact of what you guys are doing yet.
Yeah, this is my decade business. Like fun fact, before I started Microacquire, and I recommend this to other entrepreneurs too, if you're thinking about starting a business, write down the customer you want to serve first. Write that down, because Microacquire, it's built with love. Like I ran over. You remember last time I didn't have a. What was that?
No time to. I think you were like under. I think you were like a $3,000 in ARR or something like that.
Yeah, I ran it for free for like a year, and I loved it. So every Tuesday, every Thursday, I'd write a newsletter. That takes time. Like I was working till like 12 at night. But it was like my video game. Like I just really loved what I was doing. And fast forward to today, I think, again, just going back to, the amount of entrepreneurs that we think we can help. I don't know what point I was trying to make with that.
It's all good.
But, long story short, just having an absolute blast is probably where I'd sum it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're saying you're building something that you see you want to do, you love, and you'll be doing it for the long term.
Yeah. I think this is my Mona Lisa. Or what's that term?
Picasso. Your Picasso.
No. There's a term I've heard where it's like your best work. It starts with an M. Okay, we'll just go with Mona Lisa.
Okay, sure.
This is the one for me. Like this is the startup I could see myself running for a decade, and I want to see how many entrepreneurs I can help.
And I guess you're also doing acquisitions yourself, which is pretty cool. I think maybe if you can share a quick story about your own recent acquisition. I think it was ExitRound. What was that? What was the goal there? What was the idea there for Microacquire and kind of the ecosystem there?
Yeah, that was, so I just bought the domain of Jacob. Okay. So ExitRound was a startup acquisition marketplace. They raised like $2 $3 million in funding. It was launched by a VC. Couldn't make it work. And I think it was more of a market timing issue. Their model was acqui-hires. Our model is we help bootstrap founders sell, and just bought the brand essentially. Just said, "Hey, Jacob, what do you want for the brand?" Because none of the assets that they had was worth kind of like jimmy rigging, and because we're working off like cutting edge technology. Like my VP of engineering was telling me the other day, he's like, the number one thing I love about Microacquire is like, and I'm not that technical, so I'm glad he told me this. He's like, we're running off all like the most advanced, the newest technology, like the newest server infrastructure. And so their software assets weren't there. So we just bought the brand essentially. The thought behind that was just establishing, like, hey, we're kind of, looking to lead the space. And then I got a lot of good feedback from Jacob of what not to do. So that was probably the biggest value add. Because learning what not to do could probably save us like a ton of pain. And so it really wasn't an acquisition. It just bought the domain.
Got it. Did you just 301 redirect that over, or did you keep that live?
Yeah, it just redirects now.
Redirected? Nice.
And it had a bunch of SEO traffic.
Yeah, I imagine.
So that was another reason we bought it. Because they were featured in a bunch of, tech pubs. And so we just redirected. So we got a little bit of SEO juice. And we did like the calculations of what we think the traffic could be worth, and made a bid off of that. And then that was that.
Makes sense.
I actually talked to someone else. They were like, I was on a phone call. I won't say with who, but it was another individual who I've heard from so many people that are like, I was thinking about starting like a Microacquire thing, and you finally did it. And I got on the phone with someone, and he's a well-known, he runs a PE firm that you would know, but I won't mention him. And we're talking, and he's like, have you heard of ExitRound? I was like, yeah, go to ExitRound.com. And it redirected to Microacquire. He's like, I tried to buy it. Like, how'd you buy it? And I was like, I don't know.
I got early access, man. You got the goods up front. If you were starting, something new today, do you have any ideas or like opportunities that maybe you would tackle or see big opportunities in SaaS, whether it's on the acquisition side, investing or startup? Anything you're interested in or maybe recommend or see?
That's a really good question. I always say, make a bet on something that's not obvious today, that's obvious to you, that will become obvious over time. So for me with Microacquire, I just felt this needed to exist. You have Product Hunt for discovery, you have AngelList for investing, but there was absolutely nothing on the exit, which is arguably one of the most important parts of the founder's journey. And there had been previous attempts to make it work. And I think after ExitRound, everyone kind of concluded like this sort of model doesn't work. And I thought, okay, so with all these startups being created, Google, Apple, strategic buyers aren't going to be buying all of them. And then we saw the rise of a lot of financial buyers, private equity groups. So that was my bet. I was like, we're going to see like entrepreneurs are cashing out, like seeing exits, IPOs are happening. And a lot of these individuals, and I was right, but I could have been wrong. I could have been dead wrong. So I made an obvious bet in my mind that acquisitions was going to turn into a growth lever for startups. People were going to be starting more private equity firms. People were going to be looking to buy companies rather than start companies. And so I made a marketplace around that. And I could have been wrong. I could have been totally wrong. So I would look beyond what is hot today, like B2B SaaS, like, remote work, stuff like that. You're probably late in those categories. And then this is in response of like, how do you build like, a market disrupting company? So that's my thought process. If you're looking to really disrupt and rewrite the rules of an entire industry.
Yeah.
But there's so much opportunity to just look at Salesforce and find one feature in there and build a whole company around that and just do it better. And then you could probably sell it to Salesforce. That's like way harder, way easier said than done. But I really like niche businesses. I see a lot of those on Microacquire. Just a CRM for anyone. Just make it very, very specific. So it just depends on your goal. If you want to build like a big company, you need to make a non-obvious bet on something that will become obvious over time. But if you want to build, say, a $1 to $10 million business, like I just had an interview with Nathan Barry from ConvertKit, and he had a newsletter going, and he was working with MailChimp, and there were some things that MailChimp didn't have, and he just built like a slightly different version of MailChimp. There's so much opportunity in software right now because the markets are so big. So I guess that's probably where I'd recommend most entrepreneurs look at products you use. And if you feel like there's one feature in the product that you just love, see if you can maybe make a similar version of it, double down on that. And you could have a multi-million-dollar business on your hands.
One add-on question on
I want to add one more thing.
Okay.
Or get lucky.
Okay, let's see. Maybe you're reading my mind. Let's hear it.
or just get lucky. Like
get lucky?
Literally,
that's
like
true.
that.
Right marking, right timing. That's right.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened to me with business apps. I just got lucky, and so that strategy works too.
Sometimes, I think it was more than luck if you had a couple of success exits. But what about the founders that are listening in, or maybe marketers or people who don't have a tech background, right? Like they want to get into SaaS. I get this a lot, right? A lot of people just, I want to get into SaaS. I have maybe some money. I have this idea. I've got this market I see. But I'm not a CTO, I'm not a software engineer, and maybe they want to, hire it out, outsource it.
Good question. So I can speak for myself personally. So I'm not technical. Mm-hmm. I don't know where the Microacquire service exists. No clue. My VP of engineering does, and he has those things locked down, like it's in a safe in the movie Inception or something like that. But I would recommend hiring an agency and then saying, hey, I'm looking to acquire a SaaS business. Would you be willing to help me with due diligence and then also with maintenance afterwards? I see a lot of buyers doing that. And some people say like, no, you need someone in-house, but you can always move to in-house later. So if you're not technical, number one, I'd recommend starting small. Like don't bet the farm on like one, if you're not sure like how you're going to handle the technical aspects, just find an agency that you trust and that, because I love working with agencies because they have a product manager, they have engineers, they have a full team ready to go. And then it's not a fixed cost, it's a variable cost. What that means is you pay them by the hour, you pay them like, hey, I just want this one feature built, rather than like a bunch of W-2 engineers where you just kind of got to keep feeding them stuff to do. Exactly. Because they're on your payroll full time. So I would recommend a good place to look is clutch.co. Just type in Clutch web development agencies and then talk to a few, and go for one that you have a really good relationship with. And then start there. And then if the business really starts taking off, you can use the additional revenue to hire people in-house. That's what I would do. And that's what I've seen work for others. Yeah. But yeah, that is a challenge. If you're not technical, like these are software companies, it's not real estate. So
maybe try something else like e-commerce or one of the other deals out there.
Yeah, maybe go simpler. Maybe go e-commerce. Like a Shopify SaaS is probably what I recommend. Because I bought a Shopify SaaS company for like 100,000 with some friends, just to kind of go through the motions. And then we hired an operator, and that was a ton of fun. And but what's great about Shopify SaaS is everything's baked in: billing, analytics, everything. So Shopify SaaS is kind of like SaaS with training wheels.
Yeah.
E-commerce, much simpler because it's also hosted on like a Shopify platform, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, etc. Long-winded answer, but I
super helpful.
I hope that helps.
That was definitely helpful. And this is great. I just want to get into a couple rapid fire questions, if that's cool, before we wrap up.
How rapid?
As fast as you can speak. I haven't seen it yet, but let's.
Do you want to give me like a second? Like how many seconds I have to respond?
A minute. Let's try to cram it in a minute.
A minute?
Can you do it in a minute? All right, take a sip of water.
Okay, let's go with the first question, and then if they're like layups, then we'll reduce it down.
Okay. So you're a CEO of a leading company. Obviously quite demanding now. You're at the stage where you've got a big team to manage, capital to deploy. How do you measure your leadership success with your team now? How do you measure your own success now?
Happiness.
Okay.
And I'll expand upon that. So with the team, really your only job as CEO, in my opinion, is to make sure that everyone is happy in their roles and they have everything that they need to succeed. They feel supported, they feel encouraged. And obviously, we can go down a rabbit hole of like all this other stuff you got to do. But when I mean they have everything they need to succeed, they have a clear vision. They have an understanding of what their role is. You are there to coach them each week. I do one-on-ones with everyone on my team. So really you're just, a coach. But I truly believe that if you build teams where they're passionate about the business, no one will ever be as passionate about the business as the founder. But if you can get your team to like really, really like be passionate about what you're building, you can get 20 to like 30, sometimes like 50, what I'm trying to get at. More productivity out of each individual. And then it just makes everything so much easier. Like if you're going to start a company, you might as well have fun doing it, because the founders that go the distance are always like, you can't build a company for a decade and hate it the whole time. I'm sure some people have done it, and I don't want to do that. So for me, it's happiness. I like to get to know everyone I work with, not just on a professional level, but a personal level. I like to know what do they want to get out of Microacquire. Because I fully understand you're not going to work here till you're 50, So happiness.
So we're both in our kind of early 30s now, have young children now, or, 2 or 3 year olds. So different decision making on how we approach, business life and, putting family in a different priority. What's one piece of advice you wish you had known and you would tell your 25-year-old self today?
Life is a slow moving river, and to not force things. Like for example, after I sold altcoin, I had no idea what I was going to do, and it kind of freaked me out. I didn't have any business idea. I started kind of mulling on Microacquire. Then I took a CRO role at Spiff, where I managed their sales team and marketing team. Just because I didn't have a startup idea, and I was playing Madden all the time. I became the number 98 top Madden player. It was getting. My wife was like, "You need to just start a company or get a job." And I was going to be an advisor at this company called Spiff. Look Spiff up. They're badass, and that whole team is amazing. But they automate commissions for large sales teams. I'd use their competitor, so totally fit. But my CEO coach just said, Andrew, just calm down. Like, let opportunities come to you, and don't just jump on the first thing. And this can apply to acquisitions. This can apply to jobs. This can apply to startup ideas. When something really special comes along, you just kind of feel it. And I can also apply that thinking towards Microacquire as well, where I have a journal entry that says, and I've shared this publicly on Twitter if you dig, where I wrote in December of 2019 before I launched it, like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I think it should exist and it looks really cool. And it worked. But my point there is, keep shooting shots, understand you might miss a few, but just, keep getting up, but don't force things. And so with Microacquire, I didn't force it. I just loved it. I kept going. I was consistent. And over time, the brand built. People started actually acquiring businesses. So I guess another way to put this would be to think long term. Like, it took me 9 years to build business apps. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are trying to build businesses in like a year and become like a billionaire or something. Like, it rarely works out like that. So that's
your arch nemesis, the TechCrunches of the world, right? And that's why you built the Bootstrappers.
Yeah. And then in terms of like family, family's everything. Like everything. Like my wife's my biggest supporter. My son's first word was poop. I'll put that. Yeah, it was kind of funny. He started pointing at my dogs like poop. And he's like, poop, poop, poop. But just don't miss out on those special moments. Like, if you're building a company, because it's so easy to get like 5 a.m. you're working all day. But don't miss out on like the opportunities that like you can't get back.
What are some of the biggest challenges you're currently facing in order to continue to grow Microacquire? Meaning, what's keeping you up at night these days other than the 2-year-old?
Honestly, nothing.
No?
And I say that with full confidence. And I think I did a couple of hacks that I got kind of lucky with. Number one, I only hired people that I had previously worked with. So we're having so much fun right now that like our morning stand-ups are like, it's like a comedy stand-up. Like, like we're laughing together. We're building something that I really think will disrupt acquisitions for startups ranging from $1 million all the way up to $100 million at one point. We have big aspirations. Everyone is just an all-star. Like, my team has allowed me to focus on the things that I really enjoy doing, like doing this podcast with you, Keel. Like, dude, so fun to catch up with you, dude. Like, but I kept telling you, like, I'm so busy. And then right now my team, like, the company just kind of runs itself. And I just get to focus on the things I enjoy doing. But I mean, what really keeps me up at night? I mean, I want to give you a good answer here. I want to, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, sure, yeah. So something in the back of your mind, right? Just like, I just need to, if I give a little more time or a little thing that's bothering you,
I would say right now I'm kind of struggling with the amount of requests I get for podcasts, for partnerships, for come speak at my event. And since the last time we spoke, and this is a topic I have with my CEO coach next week, I was like, I'm getting hit up. Like, half my emails now are like, can you help me here? Can you help me here? So I'd say that's one thing I'm still trying to figure out is, how to better manage my time, I guess you could say. With just so many different, partnership opportunities or, podcast requests or speaking events or, marketing collaboration stuff. So that's probably, and that's minor. Like, The answer to that is just say no.
I can't do it. Yeah. Fair enough. I guess we'll wrap it up here, Andrew. I guess I know people listening in. It's up to you if you want to share this, but I know you have something going on after SaaStr. Do you want to talk about that? If you want to invite anybody listening in, or should we pass on that?
Yeah, no, come to my house.
Yeah.
I
the taco truck.
Yeah. Do we have? Is this going on video?
It's going video, audio. Yeah, we'll get Sadat. We'll get this up pretty quickly, and I think you can email him back with the bravo.
Oh, nice! I got it right here. Okay,
yeah,
so let me show you. I'm gonna put 2 pictures in front of the screen. Okay. So we got this one.
So if everyone wants to meet Andrew, what's that? That's a bunch of drinks.
That's a bunch of beers, waters, and then I asked my creative design. Literally, so this was at 10:56. We started recording at 11, and then now it turned into this. So right after I get done,
Modelos plus marks.
Yeah. Sweet. So the idea was just like, hey, I live like 2 minutes away from the SaaStr conference. Are you going, by the way?
I'm not. No, I'm up in Canada right now, so
it's kind of distant. And so it's like in my backyard, and then on Twitter I was just like, want to come over? I don't know. But yeah, awesome. We're gonna have like a backyard get together. I think we'll have like probably, I hope not over 100 founders, because that's like destroy my house. But we're gonna founders and tacos. Nice. I'll tweet it out after this, and then
get people to come by. Yeah. Hey, but I did see you might be. I think I saw in one of the conferences you're coming to Mexico. So if you are coming, please. You are coming over as well, so we'll invite you to my.
Yeah, I'll be in Mexico October 24th to 27th, Mexico City for Founder Summit. So a huge shout out to Tyler Tringus and everyone at Calm Capital.
Yeah, awesome place. So hopefully we can meet soon in person. If not this one, then when you're in Mexico.
I know, man. Come to San Mateo. If you ever fly into the Bay, I do this for a lot of people. Okay. I'll pick you up at SFO, and I'll be your Uber driver. I'll take you wherever you need to go.
Oh man, that's so nice of you. I appreciate it. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. If anyone listening in, you guys know Andrew. You know where to check him out. Microacquire.com. If you're looking to buy, sell your company, or just check him out. He's got a lot of cool things and see what's going on in the industry. Any last words, Andrew, before we wrap up?
Yeah, if anyone just wants to talk, just dial 911 and they'll direct you straight to me. No, just kidding. Email Andrew at microacquire.com. A Gazdecki on Twitter, Andrew Gazdecki on LinkedIn, and then go to Microacquire and check it out. And I don't know, shout out to all the entrepreneurs out there chasing their dreams.
Shout out, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it once again. Good chatting.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Cheers.
Thank you all for listening in to this episode and joining SaaS District today. Don't forget to leave a review and subscribe for future episodes where we interview top leaders in the SaaS industry. If you're a SaaS company looking to grow and unlock the true value of your business, get in touch with us at horizoncapital.com. And myself or one of our consultants will provide a free assessment to help you get there and hit your goals. If you have any feedback or suggestions for this podcast, please DM us on Instagram or LinkedIn at Horizon Capital and help us improve our content for you all. Thanks again and hope to see you on the next one.